And now, a math lesson. Let's say the Zaxby's chicken finger plate comes with 4, 5, or 6 hand-breaded fingers and 1 side of Zax sauce. Plus, you can try them with Zax sauce, honey mustard, hot honey mustard, tongue torch, teriyaki, wimpy, nuclear, barbecue ranch, sweet and spicy, insane. How many possible combinations does that make? Carry the 2 with the remainder... a lot. Zaxby's chicken finger plate. The sauceabilities are endless.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Azan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? Wake Up Warchant time, proudly presented by Zaxby's indescribably good. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Use that promo code Warchant30 for 30 free days of access to our website. Well, Gene Williams' website. I just tag along every now and then. Also on this show, it's Corey Clark's. Just kidding, it's mine. I just make Corey think that. I don't think it's mine. Does that make sense? Corey Clark, what's going on?
Good stuff, Aslan. Great intro to the show, as always. You're bringing it out of the gate. And it's a big week, coming off with a big win. We just keep raising our level of game.
Is this the biggest game in the X amount of years? I don't feel like it is, Corey. I don't. I think you said it maybe on the show yesterday. You can't take away what they did against North Carolina. And that was
is this game coming up?
Yeah.
No chance. No way. If you win, okay, great. If you lost, all right, well, that's too bad. But as long as you still look okay doing it, like you're an underdog. And I don't think anybody's going to be like, oh my gosh, Florida State just beat Louisville too. Like, there's not. I just don't look at it like that. You just hope they play well. You hope Travis is healthy. We talked to him today. Did he even get a question about his health?
I don't know. My internet was going awry at that point in the day, and I was just like trying.
I don't
to
think. We talked to him on Wednesday. I don't think he got a question about his health, and he's obviously. We talked to him today, which again is always a good sign. That we talked to a guy that he's going to. You would think he's going to play on Saturday. So if he's healthy and able, and the offense continues to ramp it up and look better and better, and the defense plays with some fight. Yeah, man, if you lose 30-26, it's a bummer, but if you win 30-26, it doesn't mean you've arrived either. Just, it's the process. We're all involved in the process.
If we didn't have a bushel of Renegade Express questions to get in, and I don't know, like if we were a collegiate football podcast show, like we didn't just talk about Florida State every single day, would we do a show where we talked about whether or not Mike Norvell's really an awesome coach or whether or not Jordan Travis has just bailed everything out? Would that be a show topic if you were a producer at like just a regular sports talk show?
You talking about like if I was doing if I was a producer for like Russillo or something or Bill Simmons?
Yeah, or like Rome. Actually, Jim Rome doesn't care about college football really, I don't think.
Well, Bill Simmons doesn't either.
Yeah.
He just pretends to for the draft. I would say no, I don't know. I don't think it's Florida State's relevant enough yet.
Okay.
To be like a national show topic. Maybe like an Orlando show or a Jacksonville show. Sure, I could see that. I wouldn't agree with it if that was somebody's sentiment because again, hey, man, he had a bunch of coaches that never played him. One guy at least was like, hey, we should use this guy more. So, but he has certainly helped. He has certainly he's just turned the whole feel of the program around.
Because it's Travis. But then again, I guess it's it's this offense. They've created this offense for him, and he's they've called the right plays at the right time. They put together some good drives for him and done things. They've managed him well as well. So
you look at him, and right now he's 3 games into his career. So he's not. I don't know. He's not Sam Howell. He's obviously not Trevor Lawrence. He's not Derek King yet. Maybe he gets there one day. But we're not talking the way we talk about Jordan Travis. I bet for people that maybe aren't hardcore Florida State fans or just listen periodically, would think, man, they're talking this guy up like he's a Heisman Trophy winner. And it's like, well, no, but relatively to what we've watched in recent years, we none of us think he's a Heisman winner. I don't know if he's going to play in the NFL. Maybe he will be a Heisman winner in 2 years. I don't know. But we're not – I don't want it to sound like he's just this incredible force of nature, this once-in-a-lifetime or a generational type talent. Again, I'm not putting a ceiling on the kid. He's been awesome through 3 games, but it's just because he looks so much different than anything we've seen in 3 years. That's why we talk so glowingly about him. Part of it is because obviously he's good, but also it's what he isn't. Right. What we had to watch the last 3 years. He's actually a game changer at the position, and we're not used to that.
And the expectations. Like if he was a 5-star kid, if he was a Rivals 100 guy, maybe it'd be a little bit different. But this is a kid that kind of went under-recruited, went to Louisville, transferred here. Again, last year did not play in the midst of a very up-and-down offensive season. So, who's to think that he's a guy that could be a solution? And then sure enough, it's like, so yeah, and he is getting better week to week. So it's an exciting thing to watch him kind of grow because – yeah, pretty much every quarterback that started Florida State has come in with some semblance of notoriety, of big time sort of accolades from high school. And not really. This is kind of a transfer, whatever. He wasn't going to be ready in time. Was he going to get the waiver? Didn't get the waiver? Got the waiver. But in any event, here we are. Opportunity to go 500 into the bye. And we're all excited. Who would have thought?
Yeah, and how crazy it is that so many more people, and I wasn't one of them, but so many more people were excited about the Hornibrook transfer.
Right, yeah.
As opposed to Jordan Travis. And obviously they knew Hornibrook because he had played for
Miami.
A good program.
He beat Miami in the Orange Bowl.
But if you listen to this show, you know I was a little bit hesitant on the Hornibrook. I wasn't hopping on the Hornswoggle train.
Yeah.
The guy just, I made fun of him when he was at Wisconsin. So I wasn't all aboard that train. But it's just odd looking back. They both transferred in before last year, right? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the one, the one was just a dud. No offense, Alex. I hope you're having a good life, and I don't know what you're doing right now, but good luck to you. But in the other one, has become a galvanizing force on the entire football program, and he was kind of the afterthought. And again, it's because he didn't play until week 11 last year, 10, whatever it was. Just bizarre. But anyway, he is playing now. Everybody's excited.
There's an Alex Hornibrook on LinkedIn that lives in Costa Mesa, California, in commercial real estate. Maybe it's him.
Man, already, huh?
Maybe it's him.
That would be early on to be in commercial real estate. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. I think, isn't that what is Ponder doing that? Is Ponder in the real estate game? But he's obviously, he collected a couple checks. Lots of big checks.
Yeah.
Big checks. Big checks.
I should know that because we had Ponder on the when we did the Florida, what would we call that thing? Warchant?
Yeah.
We had the Warchant videos, which I really like, by the way. I know we have some new listeners. We keep gaining listeners. If you get some free time, folks, or even if you don't have free time, carve out some time. Go back to our YouTube channel and look up Warchant. We talked to like E.J. Manuel about the Clemson game in 2012. We talked to Bobby Butler about the 80 Pitt game. We talked to
Snoop
Minnis about something. Which one we talked to him about?
He was in Georgia Tech. That was Mark Richt was Georgia Tech.
Mark Richt was the 99 Georgia Tech game. We talked to Ponder about the 2010 Florida game. We got some really cool guests, and there were really cool moments. We talked to PK Sam about the 2003 Florida game. So, yeah, when you get a chance, I know if you're listening to this, you're a Florida State fan. They're about 30 minutes long, and they're just, they're YouTube videos talking to these former players about memorable games in Florida State history.
Was Snoop 99 Florida?
He could have been, I guess.
Did we have Snoop, or am I making this up? Who knows? Let's go.
I'm almost positive we had Snoop. I'm almost we had a lot right there in a row, but yes, we did have Snoop.
It was the dark, gloomy.
We didn't know if we were getting college football. It was like May of the pandemic, June of the pandemic.
The world was spinning off its axis. Hey, before we do get to Renegade Express, a bit of a somber note. Did see a tweet earlier on Wednesday, the passing of Mario Henderson, who played at Florida State in the mid-2000s from Lehigh Acres. I think he was an assistant coach at some point, maybe down back home. Everybody that came across Mario seemed to have a really good story about him. I'll just, just condolences, obviously, to his family. I'll remember him as part of that 2005 team. I think, by the time they made it, that was a team that I think it was at one point ranked 6th or 5th in the nation and lost to Virginia, and then things kind of quickly unraveled. And they were so banged up and hurt that they just started throwing young guys out there on the offensive line. I mean, pretty much everywhere. And he was one of the guys that I remember. I'm pretty sure they put Mario Henderson out there. Ron Lunford's the guy that finally got some burn. And then turns out, he ended up carving out a really good niche on this team and ended up going and having more than a cup of coffee in the league and was drafted by the Raiders. Again, just it seems like you see kind of the outpouring of support, all the people that used to play with him knew him. One of my buddies played ball with Mario Henderson. I actually sent him the screenshot, and he was totally bummed out and just said that, how good of a dude Mario was, and always just kind of lifted the spirits of everybody who was around. So condolences to the family of Mario Henderson. Super.
And was only 35, right?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, come on. Man. That's really, really awful.
Yeah. No easy way to segue back to football talk, but that's what we do here on this show, and I'm the guy that awkwardly does it. So let's get to the Renegade Express. These are all questions from our valued subscribers and members of Warchant.com. We begin with Renegade 1906. This is my first wake-up. Greetings from Northern Virginia, Gainesville, Virginia, to be exact. I was working the night of the North Carolina game, but I was periodically keeping track on my phone. As I watched update after update showing a 31-7 lead evaporate, I had visions of Boise State running through my head. Then at last, 31-28, final. Excited for the Noles to get a big win and have some fun celebrating afterwards. The Noles finally listened to Corey and learned it's okay to go out and win a game you're not supposed to. Mm-hmm. I listened to the post-game call-in show with Gene, and the guy on the left, a happily inebriated Seminole fan, didn't know it was Tom Lang. When I heard Gene was offering a subscription to Warchant for $20 for the year, I promptly pulled over and signed up before he regained his sanity or sobriety. Anyways, enjoyed listening to Wake Up Warchant on my daily commute, and the subscription content has been equally enjoyable thus far. 2 questions. What can the coaches do to avoid a letdown at Louisville? I think Travis will be motivated and want to show Louisville it was a good decision to leave. Then again, I'm sure Howell wanted to do the same to us. Well, it sounds like coaching them hard. I feel like coaching them hard this week. That's all you can really do. Prepare them hard.
I can't get a feel for what the deal is with Jordan in Louisville. He was asked about it twice, really, at his press conference today, and I don't know if he's just like, look, I get it. He's on a new team now, and I don't think he was necessarily asked about like, hey, what happened? Just more like, what's it like to go back there? And he's like, look, I don't really want to talk about what happened there. Just these are my, I've still got some friends on that team, but these are my boys now. We're just trying to get better every day. So I don't know what kind of motivating factor that was. It's not like he was kicked off the team or they told him he wasn't any good. He's the one that left, but maybe they told him to leave. Maybe Satterfield was like, yeah, I don't see you in our plans. Obviously Sam Howell's story was different because there's no way Willie Taggart told him, yeah, you're not in our plans. That was just, yeah. So we'll see. I guess that could be extra motivation. I would hope, and this is really corny, but I really would hope the motivation is like, hey, man, why don't you do something well for Florida? Like, get Florida State going. Like, let's worry about Florida State. You shouldn't need outside motivation. Just let your motivation be to go play well again and stack up a good performance on top of another good performance. Not like, I want to show them. I want to show them how much better I am. It's like, man, just keep showing Florida State fans how good you are.
I'm telling you, that's kind of the reason why I playfully called Jordan Travis poor man's Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson is all just, like, yeah, love my guys, go Hawks, go Hawks, go Hawks, go Seahawks, go Seattle, go Hawks. Like Jordan Travis, it's total company line. Like it's about us. We know we got a good opponent this week, but it's all about us. It's about us. What we got to do, it's about us. So, yeah, he didn't want to delve too much into it, and I was trying to find the timeline on all this because somebody's trying to say that, hey, we give Willie too much credit for getting Jordan Travis, and it was actually Kendall, but I don't think that's the case. But, yeah, I mean, they hired Satterfield like first week of December, and then after Christmas time is when Travis announced that he was going to transfer to Florida State. But he's ours now. We'll take him. Enjoy Malik Cunningham or Mikael Cunningham. I think he used to go by Mikael or something crazy. Anywho, second question, did either of you see anyone that showed signs that could be the number one at wide receiver? Or do we think it'll be committee until, if, when we get Tamari and Terry back? I thought everyone in the group had their own miscues and great plays.
Yeah, they did. That's a well put. They did. All the three main guys had bad plays and then some really important plays. But no, I didn't see. There was a small sample size. None of them got a lot of at-bats. And they probably, if Florida State's playing well, they're not going to get a ton of at-bats. I think 20 attempts, 20 to 22 attempts is what they want. A few of those are always going to go to running backs, a few to tight ends. So until Terry gets back, as long as they're playing well and not trailing by 5 touchdowns, I assume it's going to be a lot of, receivers have 2 or 3 catches, and that's it. So, and I think more of a number one guy is a guy that gets 9 for 130. Whatever Terry had against Notre Dame. That's a number one type performance. All other guys, it has to be by committee. I'm not saying they can't grow into that, any of these guys. We certainly didn't see enough of it on Saturday.
No. It's also good, though. It's like element of surprise. Defenses don't know what's coming at them. It's crazy. Terry had 2 catches. His longest was 58. Keyshawn had 2 catches. His longest catch was 39. Preston Daniel had 1 catch, was for 36 yards. Warren had 1 catch for 33 yards. So when their numbers were called, they did make the best of it. Obviously, big explosive plays, which Kenny Dillingham was talking about. So they dialed up stuff for each of these guys. And, yeah, they had a drop or a pre-snap penalty, but ultimately when it came down to it, in a moment when maybe they were the primary receiver on a certain route, or at least they were the deepest threat on a play, they all cashed in, and so did their team. So they'll be all right, which is crazy to think about. If you would have said, you've given me like some sort of script, like Florida State's going to lose by 6 touchdowns in Miami, and then 2 weeks later lose to Maury Terry, how would you feel about Florida State at the end of October? And I would just be like, well, just, give me bourbon and wake me up in like 300 days when we do this all over again. But
right,
here we are.
You wouldn't want to sleep through basketball season, though, Aslan.
That's right. By the way, somebody DM'd me this. John Rothstein, who covers basketball, tweeted out that Florida State and Florida will play their annual basketball game December 12th in Tallahassee. And I think people thought that meant the game was back on, like the football game.
Oh,
but it's basketball.
Yeah, he probably should have clarified or specified.
Yeah.
I think he just said the annual game. Yeah, but maybe people don't understand that he's a basketball guy. But yeah, that is not football. I guess theoretically, again, they could play in a bowl game. I would not see that. I would not know why Florida State would do that necessarily, but maybe they would.
Why wouldn't
Maybe they don't win. Maybe they don't lose again.
I mean, if we're doing all right, if we only lose to Clemson and if we only have 2 more losses the rest of the year, I'll play Florida.
All right, okay. I don't know I don't know what the percentage of fans that are with you there, but let's see what Florida looks like. They might not ever be able to play football again. But if they are, and their defense still looks like it looks, then yeah, you could have yourself a shootout. Trask versus Travis.
Ooh, yeah. Lastly, I recently made a trip to Florida, says Renegade 1906, and I, of course, paid a visit to my local Zaxby's, considering I did not know the next time I can go. The pressure of what to order at the counter was immense, so I completely understand the pressure our defense was under for the second half of the North Carolina game. I went with chicken fingers and extra Zax sauce. Thanks for the hard work and making my commute in D.C. traffic more enjoyable. Congrats to the team, Coach Norvell, and go Noles. All right. Look at that. Welcome.
All right. I like that. It's a good way to start a show.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome, Renegade 1906.
1906. You think that's like his address? Like he lives on like 1906 Elm Street or something?
Maybe that's like his favorite like bourbon that's like bottled or aged.
Aged 114 years.
They don't do that. Is that Scotch?
I don't know. I don't
Like
know anything about. Man, I drink Mick Ultra. I don't know anything about hard liquor.
Did you see the Lakers? I think it was the Lakers. Their locker room celebration. The champagne was actually bottles of Ultra, but it was like in champagne bottles. But it was Ultra inside the champagne bottle.
Yeah, I've kind of never understood like why they go out and get like an expensive drink to just spill on each other. Like, why not? Yeah, why not have the good stuff chilling somewhere and then not impugning Mick Ultra at all? You know, I'm a big fan.
Right.
But get PBR and get, I don't know, Colt 45 or something and just shake those up and throw them on everybody.
Oh, man. Seminole Life. Wake up, fellas. How different does the secondary look with Hamsah? Travis J has made some mistakes, obviously, but he is young, and I don't mind him learning on the job, much like Steven Dix Jr. That said, Jaden Lars Woodby takes a lot of bad angles, but finally decided to hit someone with some sort of violence Saturday. I would replace Woodby with Naz. Naz? I don't even know how we're supposed to say.
I would say
Naz
on that one, yeah, because it's Nasruddin.
And keep Jay beside him personally. That's not bad.
Yeah. I think that's ideal. That's what you'd like. They do like Renardo Green, and he hasn't been terrible. He wasn't good on Saturday, but he's been decent in some games. But yeah, I mean, you have Travis Jay and Nasruddin. You have two rangy, really athletic safeties. But again, who knows? Didn't you ask him about Hamsah on Wednesday?
I did.
And he's going through the process. Is that what I heard again?
Still going through the process.
Yeah. So again, you also asked him about. Did you ask him about Terry?
No.
Somebody did. And when I think it was right. Yeah, I think Kurt did
Weiler from the Democrat.
right after you asked about Hamsah. Yeah. And what did you make of that answer when he was asked about when the timetable for Terry and when he could expect him back?
Who do we play after the bye?
I don't know. I take it 1 week at a time, buddy.
Whatever that game is, he's back for that game.
That's the way I took it. There's a chance that he's out there Saturday?
No.
I wouldn't think so either. But he said the answer was, when do you expect him back? What's the timetable? He said soon.
But he said in a very coy.
Yeah, with a smile almost.
Yeah,
like soon. I think he was given two choices. Do you expect him soon, or was it something you're going to progress? And he said soon. And then he elaborated a little bit, like one extra sentence, but I can't remember what he said. But basically, they are expecting him back soon, and maybe even sooner than we think. And so I'm like, well, golly, I guess he could be up there Saturday playing. Maybe it really was just an incision, and it's fine. It would be. I don't know exactly. We don't know exactly what happened. Maybe there's a procedure you get done on your knee where you can clean something up and be ready to go in a week. But they're making advances in modern medicine every day, Aslan.
They are.
You know what I'm saying? Every day. Not with Hamsah, but with everyone else. No, I'm just kidding, Hamsah. Hey, take your time, buddy. And Norvell did say that he won't put him out there. He won't have until he's confident that Hamsah's confident.
Yeah. So,
but he did say he liked the way he ran around on Wednesday. Did not specify that he practiced at all. He might have just been running laps. But he did say he liked the way he ran. He saw him moving around on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you get both those guys back for the November 7th tilt against Pitt.
Well, don't you think if he had opted out, if he just wasn't playing, that they would tell us?
Yeah, I'm not bothered by it. I know a lot of people are. I'm in the minority on most things with this. I haven't been bothered by it because I think Mike Norvell would have hinted to us his displeasure with it if he thought this was some sort of unnecessary, feet-dragging, wishy-washy kind of move. It doesn't sound like that.
No, but I mean, they want him to they want him to still be a part of the team, even though he's opted out or isn't going to do it because of his draft status. And it's I just think they would tell us that. I think they would be explain to us, look, Hamsah is ready for the draft. He wants to participate in the draft and the combine, and he's still not 100%, so he's going to take some time and still get over this. And he's not going to be a part of the team. He's not going to be able to play. He's not going to play for us this year, but he's still a part of the team. I think that's something you could sell as a feel-good story almost. All these kids usually just bounce to Arizona to go train, but he's still staying on the roster and staying and going to road games to be a part of this team and to be with his teammates. I think that's something you could sell almost as like I said, as a feel-good story if that was the case. But legit, it would be bizarre if every week he's asked about Hamsah up until Duke and then he never plays.
Right.
It would be bizarre to me to handle it like that. So there might really be a possibility that he comes back and plays. And man, yeah, that would help.
And with Tamarion, the funny thing is he was out there kind of gingerly limping on his crutches before the game, but then after the game he was walking all right. So who knows? I mean, he healed that quickly in 3 hours. 4 hours,
right.
So
yeah.
Another 4 days. Who
He's
knows?
like the dude in Terminator 2 for an old school reference for you guys. The bad guy in Terminator 2 that would get his head blown off, and then it would reshape itself in 25 seconds.
What was that? The T2000 or the T1000? What was Arnold? Arnold's a T500.
I don't know. I think the guy Robert Patrick was a T2000 because it was called T2.
Okay.
Saw that in the theater, by the way.
So did I. Yeah.
Yep, it was packed. It was packed. Good film, man. I would say that's one of the better sequels of all time.
Yeah. Good soundtrack.
There aren't many where the sequels are better than the original, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
Obviously that, Mamma Mia.
Right.
Those are the two that come up right up the top of my head.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, obviously, for sure. Sex and the City. All the big ones, man. They had great sequels.
All right, that was it from Seminole Life. Thanks for the question, Seminole Life. Marnell55, wake up. Hey, guys, how in the world could Jordan Travis not get in the game with Willie? This is the offense that Willie wanted to run. Travis is closer to Quinton Flowers than Hornswoggle or Blackman. Also, can we get an addendum added to Alex Atkins' contract that if he leaves for another school, that school has to pay the remainder of Willie's contract?
Probably not. I don't think that's not a bad idea, but probably not going to be able to. I don't think Atkins would agree to that. But, yeah, man. It's funny. I was watching on Tuesday night after watching the Dodgers win because, it's what they do. I went and watched.
I feel bad for you, Corey. You had 7 games that you had to deal with that. Like, there was hope. I think if you're a Rays fan, I think like the door quickly shut. I know it's just only one game.
I mean, it's one game. We're obviously recording this before the Rays beat the tar out of them Game 2. But we're recording this before Game 2, so who knows how that goes. But it's relentless, dude. I've never, like, I guess that, again, the 98 Yankees were like that. But to every inning takes 25 minutes. Every inning takes 32 pitches, and it's infuriating. But I hope more teams are like that. Like, I'm so sick of strikeouts all the time. That's just all they do. It's like they don't care about strikeouts. Every other team. Well, the Dodgers strike out too, but they also have at bats where they're just like, you know what? I'm going to shorten up and put the ball in play. I'm going to foul these 3 off and then hit one to the moon. And I'm not going to swing at balls ever. I don't know how they do it, but anyway, somebody's banging trash cans. I don't know. I don't get it with them. Somebody's banging trash cans. Also, they have a lot of talent. But after the game, after the Game 1 of the World Series, I went and – because I had talked about Lamar Jackson and how Travis was fast but not that fast and what kind of straight-ahead speed he had. So I went and watched his second touchdown run in the Boston College game from last year because I think that was like a 70-yard run. And that's when he really got to show his speed. And he ran away from people. Now, they were Boston College linebackers and safeties, but he did run away from them. And Roddy Jones was the color analyst for that game. And he's like, yeah, I think a lot of Florida State fans are wondering why in the world this guy didn't play earlier. Like, literally, he had 3 plays in the Boston College game. The first play goes for a touchdown on 3rd and 2, 25-yard run. Second play, he keeps it, gets 3 yards. This is when they're milking a 7-point lead. With like a minute left. Boston College calls timeout. 3rd down, he goes 65 yards for a touchdown. He had 3 rushes for like 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you're like, yeah, that's exactly Quinton Flowers. Like, what in the world? I don't know. But I don't know the story behind Quinton Flowers. Like, maybe, did he start right away? Did he come in and fill in for somebody that was injured? I don't know. But I'm going to keep going back to the fact that you don't get to see his whole skill set in practice with the green jersey. It doesn't do it justice. And if he's not a guy that you feel tied to, if he's not a guy that you recruited, if he's not one of your guys, maybe you see the negative and you don't see the positive as much. Because the positive is hard to see in a green jersey when he's not allowed to be tackled and make guys miss. But it boggles the mind what we had to watch last year when that guy was on the field. That guy was on the roster, just sitting there, I don't know, warming him up on the sideline. Anytime Hornibrook was like, hey, I feel like getting my arm loose, then Travis would be there to warm him up. But bizarre.
I don't know the complete backstory to this, so it might ruin it, but apparently I think the one game that FAU has played this season, they came back and defeated their opponent. I think it was Charlotte. They came back and won that game, and apparently I think a running back maybe in the second half finally started getting some playing time and helped swing the momentum and the complexion of that game in favor of Willie's Owls. And in the post-game press conference, he was asked, like, what made you, I guess, what did you see or what made you decide to go to that kid? And Willie had some sort of anecdotal story about how, like, yeah, I'm just hanging out on the sideline. I noticed, I don't know what the kid's name is. Let's say his name is Tommy. Like, Tommy, like, what are you doing here, man? Like, why aren't you in the game? And Tommy's like, I don't know, coach. Like, no one's called my name yet. He's like, well, get out there then, Tommy. And then sure enough, the kid gets out there and starts making plays. So, sometimes you just don't know what you got, even if it's standing right in front of you.
You're right. You're right, dog.
maybe I keep thinking maybe he was hurt because like the way his arm was, maybe his shoulder was bothering him, and maybe that was just something that they just thought maybe he didn't have enough zip on it because maybe he was battling an injury. But I mean, it's all one of these days. If they have if they have ACC kickoff 2021 and we're back in Charlotte at the Westin, and I'm sure Jordan Travis will be one of the representatives for Florida State at that event, and we'll have him for 15, 20 minutes, just him, Corey, and myself at the Warchant table. We'll just be like, hey, man, like, for real. Like, come on, man. Knock off the Russell Wilson stuff. Like, be a human being. Like, what happened? Like, why? Why not? What happened? But until then, pure conjecture.
Correct.
Next question, Bimini bound. Wake up, guys. Got a dilemma on my hands. My daughter's best friend's birthday party is noon Saturday. There will be no televisions. If I don't go, completely terrible look, so I have to go. To me, this is a big game for us. These are solutions I have brainstormed. A, record game, probably find out the score on accident before I watch. B, listen to the game live through an earpiece. C, say quick hellos, find a corner, stream the game on my phone. D, man up. It's just a football game. Well, it's not your daughter's birthday. It's your daughter's friend's birthday.
Yeah,
so
there's
D
a lot of
eliminated.
questions. I don't think we have enough information about the birthday party.
Well, D is eliminated. I
would say manning up means I'm not going to this girl's birthday party. But I don't know. Like, is the daughter 16 or is she 7? Like, there is no chance me now, after having gone through it, that I would ever forsake anything I wanted to watch for a little kid's birthday party.
Yeah, Bimini looks young. I wouldn't guess the daughter's older than 10.
Okay, yeah, there's no way. Because it's a bunch of screaming kids. Boys are worse than girls at that age. But it's just out of control nonsense. And they're just eating icing and eating sugar and running up the walls like they're in the Matrix. And it's 2 hours of nonstop ear torture. And so I would go out in the lawn, try to hang out with the dads, wait till the moms say, hey, we're singing happy birthday, and then say as far back and like, this is me talking, and like, I guess lip sync happy birthday, but nobody hears me. Nobody cares if I'm there. That's what you have to ask yourself, man. Is anybody going to miss you if you're not there? Like, could you drop your daughter off and say, I'll be back in an hour and a half, or have one of the other parents drop her back off with you afterwards? And I know it's different now because we have COVID birthday parties and people got to be safe, and I don't know what the environment's going to be for this party. But man, little kid birthday parties, even if they're your own kid, are the worst. So I would do anything I could to avoid it, even if Florida State wasn't playing. If it was just a random Saturday, a random Tuesday, I'd be like, no, I gotta mow the lawn. I gotta go dig a ditch. Anything.
I would watch the game on your phone. If anybody rolls their eyes, like, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, hey, I'm watching the game. And they sigh. It's like, oh, hey, can I tell you why I'm voting for who I'm voting for president? Would you like to know that? Would you like to talk about that?
Or the weather?
And then at that point, you're fine.
The video game she just got. Come on, man. Let's just say it's a 9-year-old. If it's a 9-year-old birthday party, it's not your 9-year-old. I could get it if like somebody gave you grief because you weren't paying attention to your own kid's birthday party, but it's her friend. Like, she's not going to remember if you're there or not. And she's certainly not going to be, why isn't Uncle Joey watching me blow out these candles?
Right.
No, man. Just do what you got to do to watch the game, and don't feel bad about it at all. You only get one shot on this earth. You got to make yourself happy.
But it's Louisville, and you're 2-3. I don't want to burn through equity with the misses and people in the friend circle for this game. But I told you, hey, Corey gave you his option, gave you my option. One's a father, one's not. You can use that knowledge as you see fit. Sabaxley 12-12. Corey, Aslan, wake up. While elated about the victory Saturday night, I realize it's just one game, but things are trending in the right direction. 2 plays from Saturday show me this. The hustle from Pokey and Jordan Travis on the LaDamian Webb run. They could have jogged down the field, celebrating the long run. They did not. Second play, Corey Durden flagged for targeting. Sam Howell was running for his life, couldn't find anyone, and then at the last minute pitched the ball out to a running back who was immediately tackled by Emmett Rice. Until now, Sam Howell is not running for his life. Corey Durden isn't there to hit him, and Emmett Rice is not even in the same zip code, much less right there to make the tackle. Does this mean that the next step for FSU is to finish the drive after the long run with points and to make that defensive play without the penalty? If not, what is the next step for our young Noles? Love you guys. Now let's go get another tombstone for the sod cemetery. Go Noles. Beat Louisville.
Man, I guess it is technically a sod game. I feel like you're almost perverting that holy ground because you beat a 1-4 football team. But hey, I guess the sod cemetery doesn't. The context doesn't matter, really, right? It's just you were underdog on the road and you won. Get your butt in here. You belong. And they haven't had a ton of sod cemetery wins, so I get it. But hopefully when they start, being good again, maybe this one gets pushed way, way back in the back somewhere. The tombstone, if they get it, by the way. But, there were a lot of things you saw in that game. I mentioned it on headlines about seeing Warren Thompson celebrate the way he celebrated on the first touchdown, the Travis run after the block punt. It's like, well, that shows buy-in too. Some guys would just run onto the sideline, like, all right, good, awesome. He was like genuinely fired up, like throwing his fist in the air, like really fired up for that touchdown, even though he had nothing to do with it. I mean, he blocked on the play, but you know what I mean? It wasn't his touchdown, but he still cared enough about that win. That's all that stuff matters. So yes, being running 50 yards downfield to help a teammate to make a play, all that stuff matters, and I think more importantly, it's all contagious. When that stuff gets pointed out on film, it becomes contagious and more guys want to get pointed out for doing stuff like that.
That's all? I thought you were going to go on a long heater on that one. Yeah, man, no there's...
I thought that was a pretty good heater. I mean, it's 20 seconds. We got a lot of questions, you said.
Yeah, we do. And we're gonna save some for tomorrow as well when we do our over-unders as well and do our Zaxby's giveaways.
All right.
I was auditing myself the other day, which is what we do in the Scientology world, Corey. We do audits. And I'm not a Scientologist, but I was auditing myself. I have become too reactionary, which I don't like. But I kind of do like it because you're too scaredy pants. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say that. I don't want to get people mad. I don't want to say that and then look bad.
Are we taking shots at each other?
You take shots at me. You're just more
subtle. You have to call me a scaredy pants.
But
that just hurts.
Again, I mean, who knows what's going to happen Saturday? I mean, I still think, obviously, Clemson is most likely a loss at this point. There's probably another loss on the schedule as well. I just find it hard to believe that what we saw, and this is 2 weeks in a row, and Jacksonville State's a weird one to kind of, decipher, but this is 2 weeks in a row against two teams. Now, you might be lucky in the way that you got Notre Dame when you got them coming off a long extended delay in action. North Carolina, again, are they really the fifth best team in the 2020 season? Probably not, but who cares? That's what everybody voted. That's how it works. It's how it's worked for years and years and years. But there's too many good things that have happened in difficult situations, in difficult circumstances, against teams that might be more talented than this one, where they prove their mettle. They showed you encouraging things. To think that it's going to stop, I don't know if it's going to exponentially grow or it's going to grow at that rate. That's the next question I want to ask, like Mike Norvell, when we do get him after the bye week. It's just going to kind of be like, you talk about getting better every week, but the baseline for this team in terms of their talent and fulfilling that wasn't being met. Like the baseline was so much lower than where they should have started off at that, yeah, it's easier to kind of start making up those points when you're so far behind the pack. But like now, all right, now we'll see 3-4 weeks of the continued progress. Like, are they nearing their ceiling? Like, how high is the ceiling for this team and this program, which I think we all think is going to be pretty sky high when this thing starts rolling around.
I think you don't want to be too reactionary, though. Like, if they lose on Louisville,
but it's been 3 years of misery, Corey. Like, can we just dream a little dream? And it's not going on a limb.
When they lose, if they lose to Louisville or if they lose to Pitt, you don't want to be like, oh, that North Carolina game is obsolete now.
I'm not going to. I really don't think I will, man. I really don't think I will. They're too much.
I wasn't really talking to you as much as I know. I don't think you will. I think maybe another type of fan would.
Okay.
Like, well, there you go, let down. Same old Florida State. It's like, well, no. When you're trying to make your way up a mountain, sometimes you're going to slip and fall. It doesn't mean you slide all the way back to the bottom.
Yeah.
You can still get a foothold, but you're not going to just run a sprint straight up to a mountain. There's going to be times when you have to stop at base camp. And, man, what a great analogy. I feel like this is my best analogy. I've had trains in the ocean. I've had a fiery blimp. I feel like the mountain one is the best one.
You're getting better. 1% better every analogy.
I'm trying. So sometimes you got to go back to base camp before you go to Camp 1 or Camp 2. And that's going to happen a few times this year. But to get to the top of Everest, you got to have a base camp. You can't just go from, is it Kathmandu? Somewhere up there. You just can't get a Sherpa at the bar and say, hey, I want to be at the top of Everest in 2 days. You gotta acclimate at base camp for a week or two or a month, however long it takes. I read Into Thin Air by John Krakauer. Great book, by the way, 20 years old. Go read it if you can. Really good stuff. But that's how I know so much about mountain climbing, because obviously I'm not one. But yeah, so I think that's what want to caution is you're not going to get to the top without having some slip ups when you're this far down the mountain. So find some solid ground, which I think they have. Feel good about yourself, which they certainly do. Know there are going to be some hiccups, some valleys, but eventually you keep chugging upward. And we would do this so much in basketball the last few years, not with you necessarily, but on headlines they'd lose a game or look bad, and you're like, oh, they can't shoot, they can't do this. It's like, well, no, it's just one game. Overall, you can see the trajectory of the basketball program. It was going straight up with a few little hiccups along the way. And that's what you want out of this football program, knowing that there are going to be some hiccups.
I tried to find base camp information on the Himalayas and Mount Everest, but I failed you, Corey. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, buddy.
Yeah, I could see the whole thing. If you get that unexpected loss, or if it's Louisville and the defense doesn't build it off. It's like, well, yeah, they had their one, shining moment, or Marvin got his tape against a top 5 team. He doesn't care anymore. But I don't know. I just don't foresee that stuff happening. I think it's a contagious, really good sort of vibe that's being created.
I agree, and that's why I really do care about what the energy and how they play.
And Louisville's going to be. This is a big game for Louisville as well.
Of course it is.
They're sliding off the mountain. They're free falling to the.
Yeah, they've lost 4 in a row, but they just had a competitive game against Notre Dame. Really competitive. They lost by 5 points. So their defense is probably feeling good about itself, and they're going to want to build on that too. So, and that's a hungry team and a desperate team. But I want to see Florida State play desperate like they did against North Carolina, because you should be desperate. You're still 2-3. So that more than anything is what I want to see. I want to still see the firing off the ball. Like he was saying, the tackle by Durden, obviously you don't want to lower your head, but then Emmett Rice is right there knocking that guy back. Just more stuff like that. The Jaden Large would be hit that we were talking about. You hadn't seen any of that in 4 weeks, and you saw plenty of those hits on Saturday night. So just keep that up, knowing that the defense isn't very good. They're going to give up some points and some yards, but just another step to build on.
Warpath Knoll, wake up. I love LaDamian Webb, who is such a gamer, but after how well he has played since Travis became the quarterback, I could not help but think about how great Cam was, even with James Blackman. How much better would Cam Akers have been if Travis was his full-time quarterback and every defender couldn't have just sold out to only stop him?
I would say, I don't remember exactly how many yards Akers ran for last year, maybe like 1180 or something. I genuinely think you add an extra 400 to 500 yards, at least. I think he's worth an extra 40 yards per game.
Probably.
Agree or disagree?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I think you even said it you said it like in passing. You're like, man, think about how good Cam Akers would have been with Jordan Travis. And I was like, you know what, man, you're right. He 1,144 yards.
So I think he's close to 1,600.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because Florida State, I'll take Jameis Winston 10 times out of 10. That's the kind of quarterback I want. That's, I don't know, like other quarterbacks have won national championships with different skill sets. Maybe it's because I'm a Florida State guy. I wouldn't want a Tebow. I'd rather have a Jameis, at least in terms of what we're doing on the field. Off the field, whatever you want to go into that, your own sort of at your own risk. But like Florida State, I think some part of the Florida State fan base has craved that dual threat kind of guy ever since we had Xavier Lee, and that never worked out the way it was supposed to. but it's crazy. It's so fun to have that. Like, I used to look down on that stuff. I was a big Jimbo guy and, pro style, and we're going to play, like big boy grown-up football, not bump and giggle nonsense. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to watch defenses look silly when you're just holding the ball out there against your running back's belly, and then, whoop, you pull it, and 30 yards later, touchdown, play the fight song.
So for perspective on the Travis impact, I wrote a story about this that's on Warchant, so go read it, folks. But so LaDamian Webb, before Jordan Travis was the quarterback, so all of the Georgia Tech game and then the first quarter basically of the Jacksonville State game because he didn't play against Miami, he had 15 carries for 45 yards. That's with Blackman and Rodemaker. 15 carries for 45 yards without Jordan Travis. Since Jordan Travis became the quarterback, 33 carries for 217 yards in all 3 of his touchdowns. Like,
what's the math on that? What are the yards per carry?
It's went from 3 yards a carry to about 6.9 yards per carry.
We like that. We'll take that.
Yeah, man, he more than doubled it. That's the difference he makes. LaDamian Webb isn't a better running back. I mean, he was a good running back against Georgia Tech. He was the same guy. It's just it creates more alleys. It creates more opportunities because what it does to the defensive line and the linebackers.
Mad AMCZ, wake up! This is the most excited I've been since I was in the stands in Orlando for that comeback against Ole Miss. I would like to reflect on what – pardon?
I just said okay. I'm glad. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, sorry. I would like to reflect on what this staff has done in 3 weeks. First, design an offense that produces against good teams, significant improvement on the offensive line, rejuvenated the defensive line, coached up a solid running back group, coached up the special teams unit to number 1 in America, and overall holding players accountable for effort and dumb penalties. Am I missing anything? What is your most coveted improvement so far, and where would you like to see the team grow this week at Louisville? Go Noles. We'll be 3-3 going to the bye week and some very winnable games ahead. Well, let's easy on rejuvenating the defensive line. I don't want to give them too much credit on that one.
Let's give them let's give them another week to see what it looks like against Louisville. It should be better. Briggs is now in the rotation. Marvin Wilson, hopefully, is Marvin Wilson. Durden will be back.
Fabian Lovett will be back.
Yeah, we hope so. And True Thompson. So it should start looking more like what we thought it was going to look like. I keep going back to that. What's happened in special teams. Yeah. If you need any proof in a pudding pop, that's the saying, right?
That's right.
That's it, man. That's just what a turnaround in 5 weeks, or in a year. And then you go from Miami to Notre Dame is an incredible. Miami to North Carolina, that's an incredible turnaround in 3 weeks. But just how bad special teams were here forever, and then this guy's like, this is my first goal to make us want to have one of the best special teams units in the country. And lo and behold, they have one of the best special teams units in the country. Number 1, according to ESPN's metric right now, in the entire country. That should excite everyone. Still a lot of a lot of room to grow. I would say the thing I would love to see is the stupid false starts and the stupid personal fouls. You can have some pass interference or holding. And was he talking about this today about the penalties? It's one thing to have like a hold where you just have bad technique, or pass interference where you have bad technique but you're trying. But false starts are just, he said those were the things that frustrate him the most because they kind of ruined 2 drives, the false starts. After the big Pokey touchdown, they had just a goofy false start on Lundy, I think, just leaning forward that cost him a touchdown. And then they had a false start on a Wildcat that could have put the game away. Those are just dumb mistakes that dumb not winning teams do. Now they won that game, but you have to start, somehow erasing some of that. So I want to see that moving forward. That's the next improvement I really want to see be made is the penalties, just the outlandish, back-breaking penalties. Cut them out.
I really wish there was a way to look at stats and see what the penalties are. Because I feel like, it's just, this team is never going to have a game where it's only like they're penalized twice. I don't think that happens to really good teams. You see like the Alabama-Georgia game. Alabama penalties, there's a penalty stat on here, isn't there? There's supposed to be one. How come I can't find it? It's a really awkward moment in the show. That's what happens all the time. 6 for 52 yards for Georgia, 6 for 43 yards for Alabama. 6, you're probably 2 of them are boneheaded. Just happens. I'm not saying that you can't aspire to be better, that Corey's not right, that you need to knock off those self-inflicted ones. I mean, Mike Norvell said it himself. But I hope people aren't, thinking that there's some sort of weird thing going on at Florida State where we can never get out of our own way, because everybody gets in their own way. It's just, do you have better playmakers to overcome those things when you're off track? But yeah, I mean, the most coveted improvement is the special teams, because I mean, the offensive line is better, but again, how much of that is because of Jordan Travis? The solid running back group, how much of that is because of Jordan Travis? But special teams, to call your shot like that, deliver this quickly, and it's not like a weird misleading stat to where I joked like after week 1 against Georgia Tech, Florida State was number 1 in the nation, tied number 1 in the nation for red zone offense. Because I think they only got in the red zone twice, and they scored both times.
Right, 100%, baby.
Exactly. So I mean, that's it's numbers lie and figures lie and liars figure. But I mean, these have been impactful moments in games. They didn't win the Georgia Tech game, but if they don't block all those kicks, maybe Georgia Tech ends up winning that game more comfortably, and it feels even more painful than it was. And the block punts, Corey. Nobody blocks punts anymore. I remember remember asking like John Papuchis that one of the times we had him on a Zoom was just like, how do you is it even worth it trying to block a punt these days? Is it all just about trying to get a good return? He's like, we'll try to figure out when we can. There's moments where you can attack and be aggressive, and the fact that they've figured out when and they've been able to execute a lot of it to those effort. Some of that was Marvin just being a guy, and that wasn't going to be denied, but. Yeah, absolutely. For this thing to look the way it did 2 years ago on special teams, to being now number 1, like a clear team that's great at doing this, it's incredible, man. It's incredible. And it's affected the outcome of a game.
Really, really, I keep just using that word, but it should be really encouraging for Florida State fans to see the kind of impact that can be made in that phase, seeming almost overnight. Again, though, just the penalties, Georgia and Alabama had 6. They didn't have 12, which is what Florida State had. If Alabama had 12, including a couple that killed drives, well, buddy, they might have lost that game. You know what I mean? And I think there's just different definitions of boneheaded. There's something like a false start when you're a wide receiver. That's a boneheaded. Come on, man, hold your water, stand on the ground, wait till it's snapped and go. But then there's the Dante Lucas, Robert Cooper stuff, which is more than boneheaded. And I just don't see good teams doing that kind of stuff either.
Yeah.
And that's what you really just got to wash your hands of. And hopefully they did. Hopefully that was the last. I mean, there's still going to be some remnants. There's still going to be some debris left over from the last 3 years. But you hope after the next couple of weeks, by the end of the season, by November, all that stuff has been swept up and thrown in the dumpster.
All right, let's take one or two more. We'll do all these, I promise you. We'll finish it up tomorrow. Let's go to Big Steve 22. What's up, fellas? Man, I have not felt that much excitement, at least the first half, from a Florida State football game in a very long time. Regardless of what happened in the second half, we won a game against a top-ranked opponent. It's funny how people change their tune about North Carolina once we beat them. Before we played, all the analysts were talking about they were a great team and could give Notre Dame and Clemson a tough matchup. Now the narrative is that they were overrated. Oh, well. I wonder if he said that like Dontavius Jackson. We still beat a top 5 program. One thing that happened in the game that bothered me was the targeting call against Durden. I agree with the call, but how the rule is written. I can't read. I agree with the call by how the rule is written, but do you think they need to revise the rule? Like if the defender is already in the motion of making a tackle and the ball carrier ducks his head and helmet-to-helmet contact is made, make it a personal foul penalty, but allow the defender to continue to play? I know he shouldn't lead with his helmet anyways, and I like how he got coached up on the sideline right after doing it, but man, when I saw it, I was like, that is just a bad break. It is, and they're not going to change it because it's the whole thing is to make this so incredibly difficult to figure out that like you have to err on the total side of caution.
I sure would like to see like data from like, is the game safer from those hits now than it was in 2015?
Right.
Or before targeting became an automatic ejection. So like, I don't even know when that would be, 2011? 2010, like if you could go back, does the data suggest that there are less helmet-to-helmet hits or concussions or whatever the case may be? Because I agree it should be a penalty, and I agree that if it's egregious, and there have been some, that I think they should look at it and kick a kid out of the game, just like in basketball. Like there are some fouls in basketball, in college basketball, that are so egregious they kick the kid out of the game, and it's a flagrant 2, and he's ejected, or flagrant 1. I don't remember which one's the harsher one, but you can eject someone for a flagrant 2 for throwing an elbow or this or that, and you kick them out of the game. I just think it's beyond goofy that it's an automatic ejection. And I always go back to like the Trey Marshall one against Michigan. I know he had a bunch to choose from. Yeah. When it was on a punt return, and the kid caught the ball and was ducking his head as he caught it, and it just so happened Trey Turner was aiming for like his chest, and then the kid ducked his head, and Trey Marshall's out of the game. I think I might have said Trey Turner.
You did.
Trey Marshall's out of the game. That's just lunacy.
Yeah.
Because I don't know in the moment that I know that it's a hindrance to be ejected. But football is a really fast game, man, and I do think intent matters. Yeah. I just do. I think intent should matter, and I think just in basketball, people say, well, you can't judge intent. Well, they do it in basketball. A kid might not be they judge intent on whether you're trying to throw an elbow. You watch these NBA games when they review them, they're judging intent, and whether that's going to be 2 free throws in the ball or just a common foul. I think you could do that in college football because the punitive nature of kicking a kid out of a game, like the Ohio State kid when they played Clemson. That's just it's abnormally high for that action.
Draconian.
There you go, draconian. That's a great word, Aslan. There you go. Man, we're talking about Mount Everest and Sherpas and draconian nature. We're getting it all taken care of today. That would be the rule I would love to see change. It's still a penalty. Just like a foul in basketball, it's still a foul. You're still shooting free throws, but the kid doesn't have to get kicked out of the game. Like the Marvin Wilson one. Or
maybe the quarter or something, maybe just the remainder of the quarter.
Nothing. Just you get to if it's a bad enough hit, then yes, eject him. If he did it intentionally, eject him. Otherwise, 15 yards in some instances is a huge punishment. It is. It's just like it was against Durden. That was going to be like 3rd down at the 6, 3rd and goal from the 6. Instead, it's 1st and goal at the 1. That was a huge punishment for Florida State. It might have cost them 7 points. So that in itself, what was the foul, and they paid for it. I just don't know why kicking a kid out of the game that did not mean to do it. All these kids are bigger and faster than they've ever been, and I just think when you freeze frame stuff down to the millisecond, then yes, it's going to. Well, we got to eject them just by the letter of the law. We got to eject them. It's just, I think it's too punitive to eject someone for a hit they didn't mean to make.
I do like how they're letting them stay on the field, though, and not make them do the whole walk of shame thing.
Well, that was always dumb, too. Like, what is he going to – you scared he's going to run back onto the field? Right. Like, it would be like a kid fouling out in basketball and not being allowed to sit on the bench with his teammates. Although I guess in basketball, when you get kicked out of the game, they make you go back to the locker room, too. But that's for something egregious.
Yeah.
Anyway, people like old Florida State fans will remember the name Chaz McFarland. Now, that guy should have been kicked out of games and kicked into the locker room. And then, frankly, had the whole student body beat him up. That guy was just one of the Grayson Allen, another good example. Yeah, that kid should be kicked out of the game. He was doing that intentionally. But another kid that tripped someone accidentally is not getting kicked out of the game. I just think you can judge intent, and it's stupid to act like you can't.
The two things I'll say about that real quickly is that I think it's doubly as frustrating for Florida State fans because I can't think of many instances where other teams have targeted Florida State and it's really aided them in games. I don't know how much of it's because you're just locked into your team and licking your own wounds, but it does feel like Florida State they are the ones that always seem to be on the wrong side of those penalties and getting. I think Jalen Phillips might have got hit with one for Miami against Florida State, but that game obviously was not really hanging in the balance. And I do want to, I feel like in the NFL, it's been a little bit more successful. I feel like helmet to helmet's gone down a little bit in the NFL. To your point about data and whether or not this is really affecting the way the kids are playing at the college level. Because, ultimately it's about the safety of the game. And but the thing is, if this is not helping out the safety, if these, sort of helmet to helmet collisions are still happening at the rate they are, do you do away with it? But then what kind of message does that send?
No, I think there's always a penalty. I just think in the NFL when you get a helmet to helmet, when you get a helmet to helmet in the NFL,
you got to pay
it's
money.
Not an automatic ejection.
Yeah, but you also get when you get helmet to helmet.
Take away their chemistry book for a week. Yeah. However you want however you want to punish them off the field. But yeah, I mean, you still keep them in the game. And I do think helmet to helmet has gone way down comparatively. Like I think those he got jacked up or whatever ESPN used to do. You got knocked the F out.
Jacked up.
That stuff is gone. It's a lot less than it was. But in the NFL has somehow accomplished it without ejecting people. So again, I just don't understand the reasoning for the ejection. In the NFL, I feel like it has gotten the game is safer, and I think the game in college is safer. But I think the fact that it's reviewable has already made it safer. Like, it used to be none of those things were reviewed at all. Like the Marvin Jones hits of yesteryear, the Miami hits, they weren't reviewed. That was football. Well, now they're penalties. I think the fact that they're penalties has made the game safer, not the ejections. Okay. I guess would be my point.
Well said, Corey. All right, man. Let's put the bookmark here at this point. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll get to the remainder of these questions, the balance of the Renegade Express, as well as do our over-unders, and with the opportunity to win some delicious Zaxby's free of charge, or a T-shirt with Corey Clark's face on it, and mine. I think you both will enjoy those. That's it, though. We'll be back. Check out Warchant.com. Pretty sure the Warchant report that breaks down the Louisville game is up and available for your viewing pleasure. I know K-Null19 wants to see what we think about the matchup that we have advantages on in terms of position to position with the Louisville program. While you wait for that, maybe check out the Warchant.com report and see what they have to say about it. And check out Corey's great work and the recruiting stuff that Michael Langston dropped. So we'll be back with you all tomorrow. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, probably presented by Zaxby's, Indescribably Good.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.